Hi, I'm Dr. Mark Poole. In this video, I'm going to tell you how I accidentally became a chemical engineer. I thought from a young age that I would become a doctor, although there are no doctors in my family. And so when it came time, as I was coming out of high school, to choose a major in college, I thought I would go into engineering. My father is an engineer. My older sister was studying engineering. It was a natural fit, it seemed, for me, being interested in science, mathematics, and figured engineering was a good fallback plan if, ultimately, I didn't end up going to medical school. So I thought, well, what kind of engineering am I going to do? At that time, I thought, wow, it would be really cool to mix two chemicals together and get something new. Almost like being an inventor or something like that. So I thought, wow, I'll go into chemical engineering. Plus, I perceived that chemical engineering was very difficult, and I've always liked a challenge. So I went into chemical engineering. I was at the University of Alabama. But it was into my junior year when I figured out, it dawned on me that that's not actually what a chemical engineer does. No, that's what a chemist does, is to mix two chemicals together and get something new. The chemical engineer is just the engineer that gets the pipes to the reactor so that the chemist can get the job done. But I was so far into it, I decided I would just finish and become a chemical engineer. So it worked out great. I had all of the science courses that I need for medical school, other than 2 biology courses, which I took as electives. That enabled me to go to medical school, ultimately become a physician, surgeon, and heart surgeon where I am now. I did work for almost a year as an engineer prior to the beginning of medical school. But as I think about it in retrospect, I'm surprised that I didn't check out chemical engineering a little bit more and know what I was getting into. It was more, I just like the sound of it rather than the reality of it. And I think that's a dicey proposition when it comes to life. My advice to a young person would be check out what it is that you're going into, especially if it's years in the making, whether education or training. I have to say, it was somewhat similar with heart surgery. I didn't scrub on all that many hearts prior to choosing it as a specialty, although once again I perceived it was very difficult and a good challenge. Thank God it does fit my mentality and my skill set, and I am blessed with an incredible quality of life and occupation, so thank God for that. I had a privilege to meet Charlie Duke a couple of years ago. He's one of the very few men who's ever walked on the moon. Only 12 people ever have. He was the 10th one and the youngest to ever do so. And I got to meet him personally. I heard him speak. It was just splendid to hear his stories about how he became an astronaut, his experience on the moon, and coming back, and just this incredible life that he's lived. And one thing in particular that stuck with me was he said that he had become a pilot and he saw an advertisement in the newspaper about becoming an astronaut. This was an advertisement that NASA had run. And he saw it and he was intrigued and he checked into it, and lo and behold, this man is walking on the moon. It's so interesting to me because it wasn't that he had always wanted to be an astronaut, a lifelong desire that ultimately was fulfilled. This was something he picked when he was an adult. To be fair, though, there was no such thing as an astronaut when he was a boy, and only just a handful of people had ever gone into space at the time when he made his decision. So a little bit different than most life stories, but I was still intrigued by it. And the idea that sometimes God can take what seems to be this happenstance. It seems to be just a strange circumstance that catches the eye, catches the mind and the heart, steers you in one direction and gets you to an interesting place. I do think sometimes that is how God works in our lives. At the same time, as much as possible, I would encourage a young person to try to check out the type of occupation that you're going into. That can help you see if that lines up with your interests, your values, your skills, and that can allow you to be successful in life. So with that, God bless you. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing to my channel. May God bless you as you seek to live a healthy life.